Two of the largest aircraft firms in the West, Airbus and Boeing, need to be shaking because it's really happening. Through this audacious move, Traore is introducing Burkina Faso to the world and making Air Burkina a serious new competitor. It's not just about one airline. It's about changing aviation in a way that no one saw coming. With its bold launch, Traore is altering the rules of the game, and the aviation industry may never fully recover. A change is coming, and Air Burkina is leading the charge. But did Traore manage to do it? Let's look into it. First, let's look at the fundamental query. Will Burkina Faso be able to break free from Western influence with just one bold move? Take a look at those grasslands. After all, the West has a long history of manipulating African economies, usually through overt and dishonest financial schemes such as foreign loans, aid programs, and predatory leasing agreements. Due to these financial traps, Air Burkina suffered for 40 years and had to lease aircraft from Western firms to remain in operation. Western advisors cleverly avoided mentioning that leasing contracts inevitably impoverish national airlines in favor of presenting leasing as a workable solution. Imagine paying rent on something you will never own with the majority of your hard-earned money sent overseas. Its function is leasing, which is how the West maintained control over Africa's sky. Traore, however, saw a different future unencumbered by these restrictions. When you buy an Embraer 190, everything changes. All of a sudden, Burkina Faso no longer rents its wings, but now owns them altogether. Moreover, that ownership extends beyond the material realm. It symbolizes a nation reclaiming its autonomy. But this transcends a single plane. This decision represents a larger shift that has been simmering across the continent. Leaders who see the indications, like Traore, are leading the way in establishing new economic alliances across Africa. The financial hegemony of the West is ending. In the aftermath of the rise of new global powers like China and Russia, African nations, freed from the legacy of colonialism, have started looking for new economic partnerships. Burkina Faso's choice to purchase a plane from a Chinese operator serves as an example of this shift. These new partnerships are practical rather than paternalistic, notwithstanding the West's possible annoyance at Africa's desire for connections in the East. What effects does this have on the future? Financial domination by the West is ending. The rise of new global powers like China and Russia has freed African nations from the legacy of colonialism and prompted them to explore new economic partnerships. The choice of Burkina Faso to purchase an aircraft from a Chinese operator serves as an example of this shift. Africa's desire for connections with the East may annoy the West, but these new relationships are practical rather than condescending. How does this affect things going forward? It represents Burkina Faso's skies becoming freed from the financial constraints of the past. Then comes opportunity. The opportunity to improve tourism, open up new trade routes, and set the stage for future economic growth. However, there are other factors at work here besides economics. This is about reclaiming Africa's history. For far too long, the West has dominated the discourse on African success by presenting the continent as dependent on outside assistance. But the return of Air Burkina shows that Africa can support itself. It must be permitted to stand on its own. But how does this fit into Burkina Faso's broader plan for economic independence?